Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Kuzmai. In today's video, if you haven't figured out by the title, we are doing the Merc combat rig overview. This will be episode 2 of 6. Let's get into it. The first payload that the Merc has is the Steel Dragon. And the Steel Dragon is a heavy beam-based weapon with multi-target tracking. This thing caught a pretty big nerf a couple months ago. And this thing used to be deadly in core, and now it just kind of reaches out and tickles them a little bit. I'm pretty sure they went back in a stealth buff, and they kind of gave it a little bit more of a damage buff to it. But I still think it has that lackluster feel to it. It's not as powerful as a payload should be. But I would recommend using this in core. That way you can tank more rounds while you use this payload. Because if you're playing hardcore, you're just going to get one tapped while you're in the middle of it, and that's going to be the end of your payload. The next payload we have for the Merc is the Bull Charge, and the Bull Charge is like a riot shield, only you charge forward, leveling all enemies in your path, and you are also immune to bullet damage from the front. That's the only way, and that's the only way it protects you is from the front. This thing is pretty deadly in core and in hardcore. But when you use it, make sure you kind of have a general idea of where the enemy is at. You don't want to just kind of be using this, because you'll just run around with it out and not get a kill with it, and that just wastes your payload. And the final Merc payload that we get is the Reactive Armor. And Reactive Armor is an electromagnetic shell that protects against all forms of damage. This thing was overused as hell when the game first came out because it was so powerful. You could tank a ton of rounds before even taking remotely any damage from anyone. But as in all things in Call of Duty that are overpowered, they always tend to catch a nerf. Which this one did. I think it's in a perfect state as it is now. I don't think it needs to be buffed again or even nerfed even farther. So, but this is 9 times out of 10. This is what most Merc payload users will use, and this is the one that I use the most when I am running. Now we'll move on to the rig traits, and the first trait we have is Infusion. And Infusion, what it does is it regenerates your health faster. Which, what does that really mean, faster? All right, so the normal recharge time, it halves that. So you will recharge your health in half that time. Now, I'm definitely recommending you use this trait in core, because if you take damage in hardcore, 9 times out of 10, that damage is enough to kill you. You're not going to get your health back. So make sure that when you're running this, you run it in core. The second rig trait we have is Man-at-Arms. And what Man-at-Arms does is incredibly amazing for when trying to go for nuke streaks. It starts you off with maximum ammo capacity. And what that translates to is if you have a Titan, which starts off with 100 rounds in the magazine and 100 rounds in reserves, you will then actually spawn in with Man-at-Arms with 100 in the magazine and then 400 in the reserves. And weapons no longer slow default movement. And what the whole slow default, no longer slows your default movement, meaning that when you use an LMG or a gun that gives you slower weapon speeds and stuff, it negates all of that. But Man-at-Arms is great for going for those deatomizer strikes because it gives you all that extra ammo. And our third and final trait for the Merc is the Shockwave. Now, while you're in the air, press A to perform a devastating ground slam. Now, if I can equate this to anything, it's kind of like a Titan Smash from Destiny. If have any of those players in here. Hashtag Destiny 2 hype. Anyways, I would use this trait more in hardcore compared to core. That way you don't get the hit markers that you do normally when you do play core. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video today. We'll be streaming tonight at 7 o'clock, and we might actually push it past 9. We'll see. We've been streaming for 2 hours, and I feel like it's just not enough anymore. So we're going to try tonight to stream a little bit past that. So don't forget to check that out tonight. Make sure you have your notifications on if you are subbed. And if you aren't subbed, go ahead and hit that sub button. What do you got to lose? All right, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.